Hello, and a very warm welcome into Raising the Dots, the podcast connecting you with the people, ideas, and technology reshaping the world of braille and tactile literacy. I'm Dave Williams. Good to be with you once again. Now, coming up this time, we'll be hearing all about the new DotPad X, a braille and tactile display that is disrupting the world of braille and tactile technology. That's coming up this time on Raising the Dots. Now, if you came along to visit us earlier last month at the ACB, BVA, NFB or Site Village conferences and conventions, we wish to extend our sincere thanks to each and every one of you. Maybe you took the opportunity to get hands-on with DotPad, but have no fear. If you didn't and you couldn't make it, well, this episode is all about DotPad X, and here to help me unpack and understand and get to grips with DotPad X, we are joined by Dot's US sales manager, Tim Hornik. Welcome into Raising the Dots, Tim. Good to have your company.
Well, thank you very much, Dave, for having me on. And yeah, most definitely, it was absolutely great to see everyone that we did over at the various conventions last month. And this is where I'm looking forward to being able to dive into exactly what is the DotPad X today with you. So we can definitely get out there exactly how awesome this device is, how versatile, portable, and absolutely game-changing it is.
We'll get into DotPad X itself in just a moment, but tell everyone a little bit about yourself, Tim. What's your background? You're a blind guy, right?
Yes, Dave. I am a total blind guy that lost all my sight about 20 years ago as a result of military service. And since then, I've just had a very fun life, just learning and exploring the greater world of technology, because I do view it as an integral part in our success as a blind individual, whether it's personal, recreational, and professional. That really assist technology is one of the key pieces in our toolkits to really help us change our lives and help us move forward.
And tell us a bit about your role at Dot.
Well, Dave, for my role at Dot as the sales development manager here in the U.S. is to be that person out front, to be that person that's connecting everyone with our nationwide network of distributors, as well as being out there providing opportunities for folks to learn about the DotPad X through demonstrations, conversations, and whatever it takes. Because ultimately, it's all about knowledge, and that's where I just view myself as being that person to help folks understand exactly how DotPad can impact your lives, whether it's in a educational, a employment setting, or just, for fun and just as a recreational tool.
Now, Tim, you have told me you're not the biggest Braille user in the world, but you do know Braille and you do use it quite regularly.
Yes, and I think that's one thing that a lot of people need to understand, that with Braille, it's a tool for us. It's something that we do not need to be the fastest readers. And by any stretch of imagination, I am nowhere even close to being a fast reader. In fact, if I were to go and compare my Braille reading skills with that of print reading, it's going to be what you would anticipate for someone that's in kindergarten through second grade, somewhere in that range. So somewhere very much on that low side. But the reason why I do it is that, once again, it is a very powerful aspect of knowledge, because it helps us out in so many different aspects of our lives, whether it's reading elevator signs, whether it's reading the signs on doors as we're in large office buildings. Because, for example, I used to work in the hospital settings as a social worker, and so it was always great to be able to read the signs as I'm going through the doors trying to find it. Whether it's just reading, like McDonald's, where you got the Braille markings on a lot of tables nowadays, and we're seeing Braille come out in so many other areas that you may not need to be the fastest reader, but the fact that you know how to read it and understand what some basic component of grade 1 Braille or uncontracted Braille is, you'll just see it be a humongous piece of the tools that we can leverage in our success in navigating daily life.
That Braille in McDonald's must be a US thing. I've not encountered that yet, but I look forward to it. You also use Braille for writing as well, I think.
Yes, Dave. And here's one of the things that I love telling folks about when I'm talking about Braille and they say, well, I can't feel. And I just say, look, I'm in that same boat where I got some extenuating health conditions that prevents me from having very good tactile sensitivity with my fingers. And where it comes into play that I use on a daily basis in my life is as you are using your iPhone or iPad, VoiceOver has this really awesome feature called Braille Screen Input and Braille Screen Commander. And these are two awesome tools that allows us to type using traditional Braille methods, whether it's your standard Perkins or what Apple calls screen away mode. And this gives us the chance of typing Braille. And by typing Braille, I'm typing at rates that are commensurate to my normal keyboard typing levels and proficiencies where we're looking at 60 to roughly 80 words per minute, which is absolutely unheard of if you're just a on-screen keyboard user as a voiceover user, and definitely a more proficient writer than folks are just relying on dictation and those types of things. So it's just really great tools that we have available to us. Like I said, anything that we can layer on to our lives with these technological solutions are just going to help us out and make life easier for us.
A cool thing about that Braille screen input, of course, as you write your Braille, the phone back translates it into print text that, if you're writing a message or an email address or whatever it is, the recipient doesn't even know that you used Braille to create that, but you can be very accurate because you can do hash signs and at signs and straight away. You also don't have that ambiguity of dictation. Sometimes it gets the wrong word perhaps. So many times I've seen Site Village written SITE, when it's actually SIGHT. And then of course you've got the privacy aspect as well, that if you're dictating, then other people can hear what you're writing. And of course, if you're able to use an on-screen keyboard of some description, then you're able to potentially do that a little bit more in private, and Braille screen input can support with that. Right. Okay. So we've got a feel for you. Tim, tell us about DotPad X. What is it?
The DotPad X is a refreshable tactile graphics and multi-line Braille display. And so what does that mean exactly? That means we have a display that is able to receive output from the screen readers that you are using right now, whether it's VoiceOver, NVDA, or JAWS. And you're able to receive the information that's being projected outwards. So say you're using your iPhone. You're going to be able to use that multi-line Braille display that is a 8-line by 20 cell display for roughly a total of 300 cells to go ahead and read in a multi-line method that email, that web page, the news article, whatever it is that you might be looking at that time. And the gains that you have with multi-lines versus a single line is tremendous, because with the multi-lines, you're getting more than just that one single across line, whether it's 20 or 40. So whatever your single line display might be, you're getting 8 lines of that, which is going to give you more natural flow as you are reading, definitely more like you're reading print Braille, as well as you're going to get additional information based on the structure of the documents about indentations, about word flows, how words are wrapped. And so this brings up just such a different layer of reading that you just do not get on a single line display. And then the other part that we get, that tactile graphics piece. And this is something that is very new to our world, where yes, we've had 3D printing and some other tactile graphics out there that were always done through a printing of some variety or some other makeshift method of creating tactile graphics. Now to have a electronically produced tactile graphics, in this case, the tactile display on the DotPad, we're going to be able to see things. So once again, using that example for your iPhone and iPad, you come across a image like the ones that's on your home screen, you're going to be able to feel exactly what that image is and finally get that understanding of, oh, the health app, oh, that's a heart icon? Wow, that's kind of cool to know. Going through the phone app that's, the shape of a phone. And you are able to actually see that by feeling the shape of it. And the cool part with all of these is that on the lower end of the dot pad, we had a single line 20 cell display. And the single line 20 cell display is used as a way of conveying the image description. And so we're able to get that content that normally VoiceOver is reading in there to go ahead and understand, hey, what is this? What is going on? And this becomes even more powerful when we look at the other tools that's available for the DotPad to use, like DotPad Canvas, which is our web app solution that allows an individual to connect a DotPad through DotCanvas, either on their iPhone or through our web app, and be able to create slide decks of tactile graphics. And so whether you're teaching someone mathematics or you're teaching someone like the state's shapes or country shapes, it's a very, very powerful tool of having that upper part of the display being that tactile image and then putting it in that full description that you could then read on that 20 cell single line display on the bottom. And so between those two screens or displays, the multi-line and then that single line, we have 6 navigation keys. And these 6 navigation options is what allows us to keep our focus on the DotPad as we are connected to our iPhones or our computers, because the 6 keys consist of a set of arrow keys on the outer side that is for panning that lower single line display. And then in between those, we have F1, F2, F3, F4 keys. And these allows us to control panning of that upper display, to move slide decks forward, to move our cursors, whether we're using NVDA, JAWS, or VoiceOver, we can go ahead and control where those cursors are and move them around the screen. So we can then spend more time with our content tactily versus having to go back and forth between them.
Okay, so a dual display for braille and tactile graphics. The single 20-cell display respects the dot distances required for braille. The multi-line display is really intended for graphics, so the dots are equidistant there. So I guess when you're reading braille, the character's going to be a little bit further apart. But the whole package is, I think, about 9 inches by 7 inches by about an inch thick.
Yes, that's roughly about right, is that it is not large at all. In fact, if I go ahead and I take out my 11-inch iPad Pro, they're about the same size as each other. So you're talking about the size of a large tablet or small laptop, and they're similar weight, where they are about 2.4 pounds or 1.2 kilos. So very, very light, versatile, awesome battery life, where you're looking about 8 hours based on usage time of battery life, which means you have a device that can last you pretty much all day. That is also very, very durable. And this is kind of some interesting information we just recently received, where in the several years that the second generation D2 cells have been out in like the DotPad 320, as well as the other devices that are using our cells, there's been literally about 1% or less failure rate with them over the last several years. And these are devices that have been out in a while, been used in school systems. So you're talking about a extremely durable device that has a extremely low failure rate, because so it's going to last with you, it's going to live with you, and it is going to be there for you when you need it.
A very warm welcome to the American Council of the Blind's annual convention. We're here in Dallas, Texas with DOT and demonstrating the DotPad X, which is a multi-line braille and tactile graphics display. And Rob has joined us from Rhode Island. Welcome in, Rob.
Hello.
Tell us a bit about you, Rob. What's your background?
Well, I have a bachelor's degree in special education, special ed, and I have a master's degree in teacher of the blind and visually impaired.
So you have taught blind children braille?
Yes.
Excellent. So have you seen the DotPad previously?
I believe I've seen the first version.
Okay.
a long time ago.
Well, this is the latest version. This is DotPad X on the table, just right in front of you. So if you want to get your hands on with DotPad X, it's about the footprint of an iPad Pro. If you pick it up, it weighs about 2.5 pounds. So it fits in your backpack. You don't need a chiropractor. It'll also go in a school bag as well. And the DotPad will link with your screen reader or the Dot Canvas app for rendering braille and tactile graphics. So
I like there's also a braille display on the bottom.
That's
I don't
right.
remember that from before.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so there's a 20-cell braille display at the front. Behind that, we've got a row of 6 navigation keys. And then behind that, we've got our tactile graphic area. Can you feel what's on the tactile graphic area?
Yes. A, C, B, and below is in large print braille.
Exactly. So you could actually use this as a learning device.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is the ACB logo for the American Council of the Blind. Now, on your row of buttons, if you press the second from the end button on the right, that'll take us to the next page. So the arrows will pan the single line braille display. The buttons in from those will pan the multi-line. So now we're on another logo. Can you tell what that is?
There's a star.
There's
or
a star, yeah.
portion of a star.
So there's like overlapping stars on the left.
BVA, Blinded Veterans Association.
Exactly, the Blind Veterans Association, who are also meeting here in Dallas this week. And if we continue, I think we're now going to get a flag. And this is the flag of Texas. What can you make out from there?
The star.
Yeah, the
sticks
lone
out.
star, yeah.
The upper rectangle is filled out, and the
That's-
lower is indented.
Excellent. Do you think your students would have liked this?
Actually, I think they would get addicted because this could be so much fun for them.
Exactly.
Now, is it only pictures that it shows you?
Well, you could have multi-line braille on here. So if you link with your screen reader, you could jump into Kindle, for example, and you could have up to 8 lines of braille rendered on the display, which means you can read more fluently. You know how it is with a single line display. You only get 3 or 4 words at a time, and then you've got to press a button. It can be a bit like reading from a calculator. And so when you've got multi-line braille, you're able to read more fluently. And I would say that that's probably the way I use DotPad most often. But as well as logos and flags, we can also show maps on here as well. So if you step forward to the next slide.
And is the second largest state in terms of area.
Because this is a map of Texas, and so we are able to feel the outline of the state. And then if we go to the next slide, that shows us the position of Dallas. Can you find it?
Center right, almost top.
Yeah, so I guess it's like east, northeast. And then finally, we've got our Texas Longhorn.
Texas Longhorn. This is the head of a Texas Longhorn.
You can actually feel the ears.
You can, yeah. And did you know the span of the horns could be up to 8 feet in length?
Oh, wow.
There you are.
That's over 2 meters.
It is. Any questions, Rob?
Yes. Now, this is great, and I know you have photos, but can you actually, like, write or anything? Could you do something, like, with a pen and it come up?
Yeah, so these images are coming from our Dot Canvas app, which links to Dot Cloud. So that's where we store all our images. But if you wanted to make your own, then you can do that. So you can draw on the screen of an iPad or an iPhone, and then you can have that drawing appear on the DotPad. So I've got a 16-year-old son. He's sighted. That's not his fault. But recently I was able to feel his signature that he was able to draw for me on the screen of our family iPad. So yeah, absolutely, you can create your own content as well.
Oh, wow. If you can read the signatures, that means it's very fine, the details.
Yes. So you could draw either with your finger or you could even use a stylus. All right. Well, Rob, thank you so much for coming by. And if you'd like to learn more about the DotPad, or if you've got any questions, then why not visit us online, dotincorp.com. That's DOTINCORP.com.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Rob.
Let's talk about connectivity then. You mentioned that you can use DotPad with popular screen readers like VoiceOver, JAWS, NVDA, and also Dot's own apps like Canvas for making tactile graphics or drawing. And we'll dig into a little bit more about that in a second. But how do you connect DotPad to your tablet or smartphone or laptop?
Well, Dave, that's one of the beauty parts of it, is it being a display first and foremost is that you are connecting to the dot pad from your desired screen reader through those screen reader braille display settings. So for example, with VoiceOver, you would navigate to VoiceOver, to the braille settings under VoiceOver, and go down to the bottom where you traditionally have the list of braille displays. With NVDA, the process is going to be very similar, where you'll bring up your NVDA menu, go over to Preferences, go down to Braille, and then where you normally have your Braille displays right there at the top part of that menu, you'll have that there as well, and it's going to be very similar to JAWS. So it just connects absolutely seamlessly to all of our major screen readers, so we're able to quickly access it without any hangups. And it will do this through one of two options. It can do it through Bluetooth. So for example, with my iPhone, when I'm connected to it, I'm usually just doing it through Bluetooth. And then when I bring it over to my Windows computer, usually I'm going back and forth between either connecting it via Bluetooth or using the included USB-C cable, because sometimes you just want to reduce some of those Bluetooth disconnection issues, and this happens even with headsets and everything. So just sometimes I connect to it just using the USB. Similar for folks that are using the .canvas app, whether it's through the web or through the iPhone and iPad app, that you can just go over into the settings and you'll see the whole list of items there. Now, the cool part for connecting to the .pad for teachers that's using the .canvas app on the web is that you're going to be able to connect up to 10 devices at once, which is going to be super huge for individuals who are providing instructions for blind students, that you're going to be able to send them information all at the same time, because you can have that connection of, like I said, up to 10 devices.
Who would you say .padx is aimed at, Tim?
Dave, I feel .padx is aimed at everyone because it covers down on so many aspects of our lives. School-age kids with their instruction, because how else are you going to be able to teach aspects of tactile literacy to the students? How else are you going to be able to convey certain mathematical expressions as well as other components of math, geometry, even states, shapes, country shapes, and just some of these other things that otherwise, before we would have to use like wood cutouts or, like I said before, making up our own tactile graphics to use in instruction, that now we're going to be able to do it in real time with the kids in the classrooms. It's going to be useful for, your college age students that are trying to get access to visual depictions of data, which are otherwise known as graphs, bar charts, and all those wonderful things. You're going to be able to access that information, which will help you complete those understandings of research and just understand what those graphs are actually trying to convey. It's going to be useful for people in the employment and vocational settings. And this is where we're looking at that multiline braille, of actually being able to, quickly read a document, be able to quickly go through whatever it is that your workflow and requires you to do, because you're able to consume a whole lot more information that's being outputted from the screen reader you're using at work, which is also another huge thing, that we're talking about a device that is a display connecting to what it is that you're using. So no longer are you having to go and work with reasonable accommodations of saying, hey, I need a completely different setup from everyone else. You're able to use the .padx as a display no different than any other display, like a computer monitor for this. So this is where it's going to be really good for folks that are looking for a braille display that's in those types of employment settings. And then finally, regular recreation use. One of the things that we heard from a lot of people over at the NFB ACB conventions is how much people were enjoying when we had the Kindle app open or the news app open, and they were able to read the books and the articles that we had up for them because of that multiline display again, that it was so much easier for them to go through, and they're able to sit there and focus in on the content as they're reading. In fact, we had one individual that was super excited about it, that he immediately called over to his wife as I had a book open in Kindle, and he was like, hey hon, you have to watch and listen to this. Here's me reading the Odyssey, something that he has never read before. And so he was able to, start quickly going through reading at a faster rate than what he normally would from his descriptions that he did when he would be using other types of displays. So it's really something available for everyone. And then when I'm looking at folks that's kind of like me, where it's like, hey, you're not one of the speed readers, but you're looking for something that's able to help out with instruction of newly blind, or just something that's able to give you that tactile impressions. This is where it's really cool being able to do that. So for example, my kids and I were just playing around with the dot pad. They would draw an image for me in dot canvas, and we'll just be playing games where, hey, I'm trying to guess the unicorn, or guess the rainbow, or guess the little baby Yoda that they're trying to draw for me. And it's just these types of fun games and just other things that I've never felt before, because I lost my sight before my kids were born. And so some of the things that sighted parents normally get to do on a regular basis of seeing their kids' drawings, I'm actually now able to gain an understanding and appreciation of what it is that they're trying to do, because both my kids are really into art. My wife does a lot of painting, and so we're able to have me experience their love of art in a whole new way.
Right, and I was able to feel my son's signature for the very first time, and also be involved in some of his math revision. He had some exams recently, and I was able to access the drawings that he made. But we've had tools, analog tools, for doing some of that previously, as you alluded to, Tim. But I think the key thing here is the ability to dynamically change those tactile experiences, right? You can zoom in and out, you can add and remove elements, and that could be particularly advantageous in a mobility and orientation context.
Indeed, very much so, because that was one of the awesome impromptu instructions that occurred while we were at the conventions. That we had a O&M specialist come over with one of his clients at the NFB convention, and the O&M specialist, the orientation mobility specialist, was able to start doing instruction right there in real time of intersection shapes to help the individual understand what different T and plus sign and roundabouts look like, what's going to be those traffic patterns and how they're going to be looking like, and how to approach that. And all this was done in real time in as little as 5 minutes, being able to do that entire block of instruction. That was absolutely awesome just to watch, because it's something that's always been hard to convey, and especially in real time, that those pieces of, hey, what can we do with real-time tactile graphics? And this is just one of those examples of things we could do with real-time tactile graphics. Another good example is we had a young woman come up that was really into agriculture, and so she was looking at possibilities on how can she design her plots of land for doing her little hobby farming. And with the dot pad, she could absolutely do that with her mom on hand, talk through and just develop what their garden is going to look like, how they're going to plant, what's going to be where. And she was able to fully understand, okay, this is what this area is going to look like. Is this what I want? And be able to alter it in real time and really be able to fully engage in those discussions, whereas before it was always hard because we've always relied on either a lot of verbal description or something else. Because let's face it, pictures are worth 1,000 words. And so that's a lot of brain power to have someone to convey to us exactly what that image, what that plot of land, what that looks like. And we're now able to start accessing those 1,000 words for each picture tactily. That is such a huge change in our approach to so many aspects of life.
So my name is Marco Salsiccia. I'm a tactile designer and a blind artist. I'm checking out the dot pad with canvas here. So I actually used to have vision. I was an animator and a visual effects artist for 12 years before I lost my vision. So finding more technology like this is really cool, that we get to really start playing more with tactile graphics. So canvas here, just gonna check out what I've drawn here. It's kind of a rough circle. See if I can try to make like a planet. Yeah, so this is really cool. It's something I was actually really interested in, because as you draw, now I can feel exactly where my finger is moving, and so I can reposition myself around the canvas. And then again, this is just me kind of estimating with spatial reasoning as to where I am on my drawing while feeling it at the same time. This is exactly how we teach tactile drawing too. You're always in touch with what you're drawing. So this is really, really, really impressive. So yeah, really fun idea for just quickly sketching some ideas or getting an idea down on the canvas. So I was able to kind of put my finger where I thought it was going to go, and then I was able to draw straight to it using my right hand.
Right.
So this is really, really fun. You know, the more you draw, the more chances you have at drawing or doing drawing activities, the more confidence you'll have in what you're producing.
Right.
And just being able to pull up something like this and have access to, you know, if you happen to have a iPad Pro and you happen to have the pad, of course, just being able to make quick sketches and stuff is really fun. As long as you understand that what you're getting out here isn't quite mapped like one-to-one iteration. But if you had an idea for a little icon or a graphic or something that you just want, a logo you just wanted to make, you know, you can just knock it out really quick. You know, if I clear this out and I do something like this, like this is basically a logo that I created for a blind friend of mine that works in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And you just have this idea, you can sketch this, and now you can take this digital, this file, and send it and be able to share it digitally without having to scan it in or recreate it. So that would be the benefit. Quick things like this, quick little icons and ideas. I think it's great being able to share it, just come up with some fun sketches. If you had a tactile drawing and you put it on the iPad and you could feel it, then if I traced it, if I trace a tactile drawing on this pad with the pen, I might be able to get like a low-res version of that, which would be neat, would be really interesting. So there's a lot of opportunity here for sure.
Fantastic.
So yeah.
Well, Michael, thank you for the time.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Appreciate that.
Tim, you and I know DotPad X is not the only multiline, braille and tactile display. What do you think sets DotPad X apart?
Well, Dave, the thing that sets the DotPad X apart is it is purely a display. It is extremely portable. Like we said before, it's roughly the size of a larger iPad or smaller computer. And that alone, just knowing that it's so versatile, so small, has that 8-hour battery life, just means that it's something that we could take it wherever we go. So for example, with like my DotPad X, I keep it on the bedside on one of my small shelves. And so I could just quickly grab it. I could throw it inside of my satchel with no problem and just take off with it because it is so incredibly compact that it just works with our daily lives. And if you're an active individual, like I'm thinking with most of our students, people in college, and people over in the workforce, are that to have a device that you can simply pick up from your workstation or take from your dorm over to your classroom and immediately start running with it once you get there. I mean, that's a huge positive for it. The other piece is that it connects to the devices we're using, connects to our screen readers, and doesn't require anything else in order to do that. That means we can connect to stuff in real time that we are using without having to do any special permissions, any additional downloads or add-ons, that it is working with our lives right out of the box.
Indeed, and competitively priced as well. It's still a significant investment, but still quite competitive, actually.
Yes, Dave, it very much is. It's coming in at just under 6,000, so it's 5,900 in US dollar. which once we look at, what's the cost for even a 80 cell display, it's very, very competitively priced with, some of the other best units out there. And like I said before, our durability is absolutely fantastic. That I've never heard of a assistive technology product that has had such a tremendous success at showing it has the staying power, that it is extremely durable. So it's something that investment is going to be something that's going to be able to live with you and flow with your daily life.
Okay, so Tim, I really appreciate you. I mean, we're going to be talking a lot more, I'm sure, about DotPad X as we go forward, people sharing their stories and examples. And of course, on Raising the Dots, we're interested in all aspects of Braille and tactile literacy. So we're going to be talking about other products besides. But just now, Tim, tell us, where can we get it? When can we get it? How do we get it?
Well, Dave, that's the best part of DotPad X, is that we've been talking about it for some time now, and guess what? It's finally here. So by the time that everyone's listening to this here at the mid-end part of August, the DotPad X demo units would have already been shipped to all of our distributors, and we are anticipating that consumer units will be shipped here at the end of August, beginning September. So the DotPad officially is here, and go ahead and visit us online at www.dotincorp.com. That is DOTINCORP.com to go ahead and find a nearby distributor. Or if you just want to drop us a email, you can do so at inquiry@dotincorp.com. That is INQUIRY at DOTINCORP.com. If you just want to drop us an email. We're also now up on LinkedIn under Dot Inc., as well as on Facebook. So if you want to go and approach us through the social media routes, there you go. You can hit us up on both LinkedIn and Facebook.
Tim Hornik, Sales Manager with Dot in the United States. Thank you so much for joining us on Raising the Dots. And that's it from Raising the Dots this time. We very much appreciate your company. Don't forget, of course, to subscribe, like and share, and tune in next time when we will be connecting you with the people, the information and technology reshaping the world of Braille and tactile literacy. But for now, from myself, Dave Williams, and the rest of the Raising the Dots team, bye for now.